The Mind Buzz, now partnered with My Grito Industries.
This podcast episode of The Mind Buzz is brought to you by House of Chingazos. House of Chingazos is a Latino-owned online store that speaks to Latino culture and Latino experience. I love House of Chingazos because I like t-shirts that fit great and are comfortable to wear. I wear them on the podcast and to the carne asadas. Click the affiliate link in the show description and use promo code TheMindBuzz. That's TheMindBuzz to receive 10% off your entire purchase. The cash saved will go directly to the Mind Buzz podcast to help us do what we do best, and that's bringing you more Mind Buzz content. Click the link in the show description for more. The Mind Buzz is powered by Mind Buzz Media. Mind Buzz Media is an on-site video and audio podcast production company. Have you ever thought about starting your own video and audio podcast? Or do you have an existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Mind Buzz Media brings a professional podcast studio to you. Visit mindbuzz.org for more. February 26th in the city of Paramount, California is going to be Delic Comedy. Open mic, comedy showcase, and live podcast in the city of Paramount. Go to mindbuzz.org for tickets available. Oh yeah, I can't wait for it. The Mind Buzz Podcast. And away we go. Boom! What is up, Mind Buzz universe? I am not sleeping tonight, so...
You said the 26th. It's the 23rd.
Oh, I said 26th?
Yeah.
Oh, that was super bad. I had everything queued up, and I just missed it. I'm not sleeping tonight after that blunder and this drink. We should work out a deal with this drink, honestly.
I know someone that... manages their account.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're just telling me this now?
Well, I just discovered it.
All right. Well, let's look into that because if anybody wanted to drink this drink, they'd just have to slit my wrist and filter my blood because I feel like this thing pumps my heart and keeps me going throughout the day. So... let's see. We got the 23rd on February.
Yep.
How about My Grito? What do we got going on?
So we
there?
have our My Grito weekly. And let me put that up here for all of you to
Boom.
see. Maria Sanchez will be performing at Forever Mine in Bakersfield on February 10th. Some of you may remember her from our episode 149 on the Mind Buzz. Make sure you visit our YouTube channel, to check out that
and or
interview
YouTube,
and more.
your YouTube channel too.
I don't have one. Bad Hombres will be at La Cita in LA on February 23rd. You may remember us interviewing their drummer Sebastian on episode 170. He's a jiu-jitsu personal trainer, so go check that show or he'll kick your ass. I just read that.
You said that last night too.
No, I didn't say it.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
That's where I messed up and I said I did my own.
Oh.
Wow, Sebastian.
Gotcha.
Harless Sweetwater will be in Arizona at the Rhythm Room on February 29th. The Rundown Creeps recently released this new music video. You can find on YouTube or the link in their Instagram bio. Go ahead and go check that out. I want to see that. I've been waiting for it. The Paranoias will be releasing their new music video shortly, so stay tuned for that. For more details on these shows, go to the artist's Instagram page and don't forget to visit mygrito.net to purchase your vinyl, right? Meow.
Right? Meow. So go to mygrito.net for all your vinyl needs, and if you and you do love all our artists on the My Grito label, also check out the My Grito podcast network, the Mind Buzz. We got Emo Brown, Chicano Shuffle, and Tragos Amargos and West Coast Pop Lock podcast, all a part of the West Coast Pop. You're
giving them their own network.
I know. All part of the My Grito podcast network, our brothers and sisters down there. And without further ado, let's get into tonight's guest. I am super excited about today's guest. You have no idea. Probably one of the youngest guests we've had in the studio, Jacob the Bull Brown. Thanks for coming out and doing the podcast, brother.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me out, Gail.
And Jacob is a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Is that correct?
Yes.
That is awesome, dude. How long have you been practicing Jiu-Jitsu for?
I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for 15 years.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's a long time, dude.
Yeah.
That is a very long time.
I mean, I started at the age of 6, so I mean, I never stopped since then.
Really,
How
dude?
many belts is there in jiu-jitsu?
I started as a kid at 6, so I was white. So I had to go through all the really like half-colored belts, and like I had to go through yellow, and then orange, and then the orange black, and then I had to go through green, then blue, and then there's purple, brown, and then black. So right now I'm a brown belt. So
Shoot, you're one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went through a hell of belts, so I have one more belt to go to, and then that'll be my final stage of completing all the belt ranks, and then man, I got a lot going on from there. So
Yeah, and you're a busy cat, dude. Can we pull up his Instagram account and let's check out what he's been up to for the past however long he's been hanging out for. Let pull it down. Let's see if we can get some of his stuff on the screen.
Oh,
it looks like
the pitched out, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be my newest little film coming out. Just worked on. It's gonna be like a little short action film. You guys are gonna see. Just stay tuned for that, because that's gonna be really fun. Doing that little film was so much fun. I loved working with the people. Shout out to Joe and Jay, the people I worked with that put me in there. Thank you so much.
that's awesome, dude. So on this, can we pull it up? Can you press on it? See what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my man right there.
Oh, so some
Well.
BTS stuff going on right there behind the scenes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Shout out to Joe, man. He's a good guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, Noel.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, I was doing like a little trick with Noel. I just learned from somebody.
Uh-huh.
It's like this little chi energy thing.
It's like, what the heck's happening?
So basically, he was like holding his arm up. I told him like, don't let me put your arm down. Like as I put pressure on it, and he couldn't have the resistance to do it. So it's like a mind trick.
Oh.
It's funny. Got to try it in real life. It's pretty cool.
That's cool. And what did you do on the film?
On the film, it was more like I was using like kind of like my jiu-jitsu aspect of part of it. So basically, it was like I'm in this like gang or whatever, and it's like I don't want to.
No, you don't
talk
have to,
about too much.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like an action film. So it's just like I have some fight scenes in it, and then in the future, like you're gonna see more about it. There's nothing too much to really break down about for it, but just know in the future, there's gonna be like a lot of action basically going on.
That's awesome. Can't wait for this to come out so we can
Thank you.
check it out, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be
So
exciting.
yeah, it seems like other than jiu-jitsu, you're pretty well rounded in a lot of stuff,
I still
man.
have like a lot going on in film. I still want to do more in the future. I also have another one. It's called Lake Abyss. It's a short horror film.
Oh,
And yeah,
okay.
I think that one's gonna be even more exciting. I mean, both of them are just exciting to watch, but it's like the first short horror film I've ever did. And, I've always wanted to be in one, so that's gonna be exciting to watch. So everybody, stay tuned for that. Everybody on Instagram, you guys, it's gonna be fun.
Awesome, dude. That's yeah, you're pretty busy then.
Yeah, shout out to Eric as well. But yeah,
Right on, dude. And today I just found out you're not a native to California. You're from the East Coast.
yeah, East Coast original, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still remember how it was in New York, right?
Yeah, I had some experience in New York. I mean, being there was very awesome. I love training with my original coaches. They helped out a lot throughout my career. Because like growing up there, it was very humbling. I like the jiu-jitsu there. The jiu-jitsu here is also great as well. Both sides. I love learning from both sides of East Coast and West Coast jiu-jitsu. They both have its own style and it's unique. So that's what I really like about this.
That's interesting because of the geographical locations of athletes.
Yeah.
It plays a big part in the sport. That's wild to know, dude.
Yeah, because like East Coast Jiu-Jitsu, it's like a lot of people like to be like on top of you, like really like smash and pass on top of you, like they like smug you with all that pressure. Yeah. And then when I came here, that was always my style, the smash and pass style. I just want to smug you on top, and I don't want to like let you go anywhere. Right. So I came here and I was like, oh, this is like a way different style of jiu-jitsu. Like I was playing on the bottom. I learned about like the De La Hiva and stuff. Like I wasn't doing that type of jiu-jitsu back then. But now I know that part of jiu-jitsu, like working the bottom, working like certain guard, and like just kind of like winning from the bottom was a whole new different style when I first came here. So
you would say it's like more chill.
Yeah, it's a lot more chill. Like it's like
it's California jiu-jitsu. That's what it is.
Like, just like that.
Like that's what I liked about it. It's like I felt like a lot more calm, like just laying on the bottom, like doing my thing. I get to be a lot more slower, taking my time, doing certain moves. When I was like back in the East Coast and then sticking with that original style, I was always on top doing most of the work, But here you get to like lay back a little bit more.
Yeah, take your time, focus, use your technique.
Yeah.
Seeing what your next move is going to be, right?
Yeah, and that's what I really liked about it. So I adapted to that style, mixed it in with my East Coast style, and I just started learning it both ways.
That's wild, dude. Have you met anybody else from the East Coast that practices jiu-jitsu?
Anyone from the East Coast that lives here?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I did.
Or got hit the mat with anybody from the East Coast? No?
No, not that I know of. It was just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So you have a little bit of an advantage, right?
I think
because your style's a little bit different.
Yeah. You can say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I was reading about jiu-jitsu not too long ago. Or Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's a lot. It comes from Japanese, right? From Japan. Like it's derived from Japan. Yes. From Japan.
I believe that's where it originated from.
Yeah, and I was watching a little video on it a few weeks ago, and there were these warriors back in the day. I don't know if we can pull it up, Amber, on the history of jiu-jitsu, but just before they stopped using the samurai warriors, they used the practice of those samurais and they made it a sport, and it was pretty interesting. And there was only one guy, I gotta look at his name, but it was one jiu-jitsu, and they called it judo.
Yes, I did judo. I was a judo guy for 4 years.
So it's different. It's a different sport, or how's that?
Yeah, it's different from jiu-jitsu. At least like, I did it at a younger age, so it's different from doing it at a younger age to when you get older. Because when you start reaching the higher ranks in judo, when you take somebody down, that's when like the match ends. Like once you get a takedown, that's it. Like you restart, you do it again, or that's how you win the tournament. But when you get older doing judo, I think in the higher ranks, like brown or black, maybe I haven't been in it that long. I kind of stopped as a kid. But once you get the takedown, then they kind of transitions into jiu-jitsu. Then you have to pass the guard, or you got to get the back take, in judo, when it's really only like takedowns for like younger kids when I started. So I haven't been that far into it, but that's what I know about it.
Whoa. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Although its origins can arguably be traced to Buddhist monks of India. What? Jiu-jitsu, sometimes referred to as jiu-jitsu, in its modern form comes from Japan. Jiu-jitsu was the battlefield art of the samurai of Japan. That is so wild. And it's like over the past 150 years, it's become one of the all-time watched, the all-time affiliated type of sport, right?
Yeah, over
it's
the
pretty
years.
young.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like over the years, jiu-jitsu has grown a lot more than when I first started. Like when I first started jiu-jitsu, nobody barely knew. When I told them I was doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they're like, I never heard of that before. They thought they thought it was karate. I'm like, nah, it's just like,
Right.
It's just like a similar version of like judo, but judo is stand up more and jiu-jitsu is just more ground game.
Okay, so judo is more stand up, and jiu-jitsu is more ground.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is mainly like ground game. Like I like to like put jiu-jitsu and judo together, of course. Like anytime I roll or I spar, I always like to start standing up. You don't really see me pull too much in jiu-jitsu. The only time I really like playing the bottom is if I end up in that scenario. But I always like to start off with a takedown or go for the legs or something like that because I've been in judo so long, I kind of adapted to it.
That is so crazy. I've never met anybody that has done a sport since 6 years old.
Yeah.
That is just something that you read in a magazine or see in an article. I don't read magazines, but if I did, I'd probably read something like that,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
How do you because I've seen like a couple videos, right, that come up like on my TikTok or things like that where the kids are sparring, right? That's what you call it, like, or when they're like out on the mat.
Yeah, I call it sparring, going live.
And then one kid wins, obviously, and then the other one's like red and crying and like, and then I'm like, oh man, I feel bad. Like, how as a kid, how do you understand that? Like, how do you get into that mindset of like, hey, I'm not always going to win, and this is a contact sport, like what? I mean, obviously it's been so many years, but from what little you can remember, I mean, what was kind of your mindset at 6 years old, doing that?
That's a great question. I get that question a lot. I would say like being so young in the sport, especially at the age of 6, you get so much like discipline, like training with your coaches and, especially having the right support. It disciplines you at a very young age. So you kind of just get used to that, right? And it's like, oh, when your parents ask you, hey, how do you feel about the sport? Especially, it's comforting when you get asked that about your parents because that's what my parents did to me. They asked me like, oh, like, are you comfortable being here? Do you want to come back? And that gives the kid like enthusiasm to go back, to want to stay in the sport, right? So that was me. I was just this young, happy child that wanted to just go training every day because it was fun and I found it amusing and my coaches were supporting. And so that's how you kind of got to be with the young kids. And it kind of just kept me motivated, so that's why I just kept going back. And also, I was also bullied at that age as well. So that was even more of another reason for me to stay in the sport.
Because of the bullying?
Because of the bullying mainly.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Imagine bullying somebody and then to come to find out that they're like a brown belt or something, that you're picking them wrong, right?
Yeah.
That's always my, like, when you make scenarios up in your head. And you're like, yeah, you're doing things that that you can't possibly do. But that's always my like scenario in my head. I go somewhere and then everyone thinks I'm just small and like helpless, and then I can just like take them down. That's always my go-to scenario, which I know I can't, but
honestly, and I think jiu-jitsu is like one of the greatest sports, especially for women, because it's like it's girls like. They feel safe, especially when they know how to escape a grab or, how to take somebody down. I think it's the more easier way to learn self-defense, because it doesn't take a lot to like defend yourself when you're in jiu-jitsu, because if you're on the bottom or somehow you get knocked down on the floor, you're going to know how to protect yourself, because that happens in a lot of, like, say, I never been in a street fight, but if I was in a street fight, I got knocked down to the floor, I would immediately know what to do. I would know how to take the person, put him in a chokehold, it's pretty simple. But yeah, I mean, that's how it is, so it's just fun.
Dang, 15 years of it, man. That's just, I'm pretty sure you've been in a lot of, over those years, like there's so much experience that you have accumulated in your mind on the mat, right?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself in different scenarios each time you get in the mat, or is it just something that's different from one match to the other, if that makes sense?
Every match is different. Every match has its own unique way of jiu-jitsu. So everybody fights different. It's always a fun experience. Every battle that I do, especially like in tournaments or even on the mat, it's all fun. It gets harder throughout the years as you get older. Then it gets more competitive. But, either way, I like every experience that happens in jiu-jitsu. I learn a lot every time I train. Every time I lose, every time I win, it's all a great experience. So, I mean, But other than that, everything else is pretty similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you even how do you get ready for a pretty important match?
For
Yeah,
match.
without telling any of your secrets,
Mm-hmm.
just give me a little bit of how you prepare yourself for a match.
Well, first thing, I always work out daily. Always hitting like strength and conditioning, working on my body. Always staying on weight, eating healthy. I wake up like 6 in the morning, and then I train every morning 2 classes a day. Then I go back to working out. And then I just stay on that constant routine, so building myself every day, getting stronger, and that's kind of like the basic part of it. But I mean, like behind the scenes, it's about the mentality.
Yeah,
you gotta be there mentally.
right.
You can't just say wake up in the morning and then say I'm just gonna go train and just get it out the way. No, if you think like that, you're not gonna get nowhere.
Right.
You gotta wake up wanting to be there. Having the enthusiasm to wanting to learn something more, something else that's gonna make you improve. To help you win tournaments, help you stay in the sport. It's like you don't want the mentality of a quitter and then just go train in the morning just because of it.
Right. So do you do anything mentally to get you in that state? Do you meditate? Do you read books? What do you do for your brain for a match?
I just keep myself motivated, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm straight up. I just wake up and I be like, I'm here for a reason. I started at a young age. I'm not gonna quit now.
Right.
So I'm just like, what is there to complain about? I've went through my struggles, but that's not stopping me. Going through struggles is only gonna keep me motivated to keep on going. So
yeah.
That's what keeps me motivated. My struggling.
So who got you into the sport?
That was actually my aunt. She was a Newark police officer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's the one that got me started in jiu-jitsu. After I told my parents I was bullied at a young age. Yeah, they went to her as a Newark police officer, and they was like, hey, Jacob was bullied. Is there any sport you think we should put him in because he wants to learn self-defense? She was like, yeah, totally. Bring him into class. It's called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And they asked me, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm just this kid. I just say yeah to everything.
Right,
let's go.
Right.
And then that's it. That was the day when the first class I did, and I was like, oh wow, this is really fun. I had good training partners. I had awesome coaches, and that was the first day of jiu-jitsu I started.
Did you ever think that you're going to be doing it for the next 15 years?
Definitely not.
No,
not at all. But it's like I'm glad I came all this way because I made such a great experience along the way, and I made a great life. I came to Cali after a while. After training in the East Coast, after the amount of years I put in already, then I realized that I wanted to keep on going and take it to a competitive aspect of it, and I wanted to get somewhere with it. But when I first started, it was like I didn't know where I was going with this. I thought I was gonna do it just to learn self-defense, just learn how to keep myself from being bullied.
Yeah.
And that was the base part of it. But then once I came here and moved to Cali after a long time of just learning jiu-jitsu, then I came here and learned a whole different style of it. I was like, oh, this is way different, a lot more competitive. This style of jiu-jitsu is different. Because I came over here doing like illegal jiu-jitsu moves that the kids learn at a young age. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like over here doing like ankle locks and like headlocks. And like I'm only like 7 years old.
No.
yeah, that's exactly what they did. They was like, you're only like 7, you can't be doing this to other kids, like throwing them on their necks and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like this little wrestler dude, just being mad aggressive. Yeah. Yeah, I was like 10 years old. But I mean, yeah, that was that. So then, after they taught me their style of jiu-jitsu and how, they train here in the West Coast, then that's when I kind of adapted to the style of jiu-jitsu, the more competitive side, and how to be safe in jiu-jitsu and not just being this like super brawler dude that probably could be dangerous to others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you have to. Yeah, it's a sport, right? So you have to be safe.
Yeah.
Too. That's so. It's weird to me because just looking at a match, like watching a match, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that safe.
No, not at all. Especially when you get older, you know, they start doing some crazy moves on you. You know, when you get into ankle locks, I would say, damn, ankle locks and like foot locks are the hardest things to like, you know, not get locked in, because once you reach like brown and black belt, like I am at brown belt, you start worrying about your ankles, because once they snag your ankles, you barely have any time to tap out. You have to tap out instantly. Like if you don't tap out, your thing's gonna snap.
It's gonna break.
Yeah, it's gonna break. So
really?
you got to be careful.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I would say it's a little more easier to maintain around purple and like blue belt, and especially, you know, any belt under that. But brown and black, then you got to start working your game.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you know how they determine when somebody is ready to go on to the next belt?
It all depends on how you're doing in your training, on like how you involving your game, basically. So it's like when you come to training, are you focusing on the moves you're drilling on? Are you like working on the stuff that you're not really like at the best at? Like it's all about like what I need to work on, that I need to improve, that I'm not ready for.
So it's all your progress, right?
Yeah, it's about the progress you're making. Yeah. And then that shows in tournaments. So whatever progress you're making at the gym, whatever you're improving on, whatever you're drilling on, is all going to show at the tournaments.
Oh.
And then, you know, throughout the years, they're going to be able to tell, like, if you made progress for your next belt.
What do you have up here, Amber?
I have a video.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
Whoa. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was a great match.
You're, like, so calm, and the other guy's, like, fighting for his life.
Wow. I need to see a replay of that. Look at that. Goes, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty clean. I'm not gonna lie.
that was so calculated too.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was. Whoa.
Yeah, that match I believe was on like 30 seconds or something like that. Yeah, 27 seconds.
So the whole reel was a match.
Yeah, that was the entire match right there. There was no after that. It was end of after that video.
You're doing TikTok videos when it comes to these matches, bro.
Yeah, just
oh my gosh.
A TikTok video.
They're like, how long is your match? It's like a TikTok video.
It's a TikTok video.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was really calculated. That was really clean. And just like what Amber said, you look pretty calm, so you're
I mean, that's what jiu-jitsu is about. You have to be in a state of a calm mind, you know. You can't be on the mat.
Your opponent didn't look calm.
But yeah, like when you're like struggling, like getting flipped over like a pancake and stuff, it's like your mind's all over the place, you know.
Right.
But I could see, right, because I mean, it's like any situation. When you panic, you're not clear-minded. Like your mind is not working to its full potential because you're panicking. And if you're calm, then you're calculating, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I mean, it makes sense. It makes total sense.
Yeah, especially at the belt rank I'm at now, at a brown and black belt rank, you have to be at your calmest when you're in a fight, because you have to calculate every single thing you do. Like the minute you mess up, then that's when they're going to take the opportunity to get you in a submission hold. And right there, you're going to tap out, get scored on, anything happens, you know. So you always got to be like very precautious about like what you're gonna do for your next step. So that's what I've been learning as a new brown belt. I got my brown belt just like a few weeks ago, like 3 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot to learn a brown belt for me still, you know. So I'm still getting adjusted after being a purple belt for like 2 years.
Oh, okay. What's the average that somebody stays in a belt? Is it just goes from athlete to athlete?
Yeah, the usual amount of years for every belt, like for a blue belt, it's usually about 3 years. I stood in my blue for 3 years, then purple will be 2 years, and brown is 1 year. And then and then once you get black, that's it. You're black belt forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a red belt, but you have to be in like your old 60s or 70s.
Really?
Yeah, you got to be an old man by then.
It's based on age?
I mean, yeah, I mean, for red belts, I think it's based on age, but because usually for most black belts, they get it when at least for when you start at a young age, at like 6 years old, like me, you would get your black belt by like 22, 21, you know, youngest.
Gotcha.
But like if you start, depending if you're starting older, like if you're starting in your mid-teens or as an adult already, like if I started as an adult, I will go straight from white to blue belt. Right. Well, as a kid, you would go from white, and then yellow, orange, and then half color belts and all that. Because then there's yellow, black, and yellow, white, and there's orange, black, and orange. You know, a lot of colors. There's more colors than adults. But if I was an adult, it'd be white, blue, purple, brown, black. But I went through all the little kid belts when I was younger, so it took a longer time for me. But yeah, so if you start at an older age, then it's gonna take you a lot longer to get a black belt, and then you'll already be old when you get a red belt.
So when you're not flipping people on the mat, dude, what are you doing? Like when you're not working out, what other stuff do you like to enjoy?
Well, when I'm not working out, I mean, I just like to keep myself busy. I'll go out, maybe do another hobby, that kind of I'm interested in. Like I'll do skateboarding or something, like do something new. I like to try new things that I'm not, if I'm not in the jiu-jitsu environment. Or I'll just, I'll just like to be out, just roller skating, skateboarding. I like to enjoy life, like if I'm just chilling, I'm just going to enjoy kickback, just do what's pretty chill, like every other chill person does, when they're on their off time.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So going back to like why you got into jiu-jitsu, right? So kind of because of the bullying and all that. Do you think that after you were in there for a couple years, do you think that it helped with, well, I guess my question should be like, did you stop getting bullied after that, or was it still something constant even while you were in jiu-jitsu? Answer that one first and then ask that.
Yeah. No, after the first time I got bullied as a kid, I never got bullied again.
Do you think that it was one, like for you, right, your mindset, do you think it was one, like, because you knew how to defend yourself, that you carried yourself differently, or maybe your mindset was just you were a little more confident in yourself and knowing that you could defend yourself, or it just kind of went away on its own?
No, yeah. I mean, I was disciplined at a young age, so I was very humble. The minute I knew I was able to defend myself and I knew what I can do to somebody, I was like, I'm going to only use it, for self-protection. And I know, like, the harm I can do to other people in case I was in a problem where somebody, wanted to fight me. That's the only time I would use it for self-defense. But there's no other reason why I would use it,
Yeah.
So,
but
like,
it gave you confidence, right? Knowing that
I got a big confidence boost off of that, because I was like, after the amount of years I put in, the things I know I can do, with my skill, like my skills over the years, that's when I knew it was just like, okay, like I know what I can do. I know, like, some people will say, like, I've had people come to me and be like, you're like pretty much like your own weapon. And I was like, well, yeah, you could put it in those words, it's the same thing. So that's why I've always been careful throughout the years about what I do, because if I was like a fighter who's like really pissed off and I just had an aggressive attitude, then I could seriously like put somebody in a bad position, But it's a good thing. That's why I'm very humble. That's why I like to always humble myself, and I respect everybody, So the last resort is always that, I always put that as the last resort, like putting anybody into a submission hold or using my jiu-jitsu for anything. So yeah, I mean, I'll use it for self-protection, and that's it.
Some of the nicest people that I know are practicing jiu-jitsu people. You know that?
Yeah.
It's true. Because it's the passion. You guys are in it for self-defense or defending other people. The sport is just it changes you. I don't want to say changes you mentally, but kind of in some capacity it does, right?
Yeah, no, in some capacity you're right about that. Because like throughout the years, I've just been this guy who's just been like, oh man, I love the sport, and I can't ever stop doing it. It's like at some point you get an addiction to it.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of where in your head it's like, am I using this? Like, what am I gonna really do with it? And then some people who are not in the competitive aspect of jiu-jitsu, they're gonna be like, well, I kind of just doing jiu-jitsu just cause, or some people have jobs, some people are busy with their lives, but like somebody competitive, they'll be like, there's a lot of reasons to use jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
Most of it is gonna be going to like tournaments, using it for like how to work on your technique and stuff. Some people use it for only self-defense because, in case somebody attacks them, they know what to do on the floor, they know how to defend themselves.
Right.
Oh, and that's that.
Who are some of your inspirations when it comes to the sport? Do you say if you're a football player and you look up to Vince Lombardi or somebody like that, right? Is there anybody in jiu-jitsu that you look up to?
I don't really have an inspiration to anyone, like respectfully.
Yeah.
I just I look at myself because I like to be my own inspiration.
There we go.
I like to look back at all the things I did, and I like to, all the things that I worked hard for. It gives me an even bigger booster. And I don't have a bad ego or nothing. It's just like I want to see myself grow, the
No,
best
of course.
I can, But there's a lot of people like I respect in jiu-jitsu, like I know that the big things, the one big tournaments, and like Gordon, is a great jiu-jitsu fighter, and then his bros are great jiu-jitsu fighters. There's a lot of jiu-jitsu people that are amazing out there that accomplished, in their life. And so, I just want to be one of those people that when I get my black belt, I want to be able to open up my own academy, win tournaments.
So what is jiu-jitsu's, again, back to like American sports.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball has the forget that. I don't know baseball. Football has the NFL. What does jiu-jitsu have? Do they have like a top prize, like and entertainment wrestling? There's the WWE. Does jiu-jitsu have something like that?
Yeah,
like a foundation or something?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu got multiple big organizations. They got one that's called ADCC, and that's probably one of the biggest ones out there. It's a no-gi only tournament. And if you have to go through the ADCC trials in order to get to the big actual organization to win that tournament. Yeah, so you have to go through like a pre-tournament and then get to the real tournament, So after you win that one, then that's when you get to the official ADCC. And that's one of like the really huge organizations of jiu-jitsu. Like when you get in there, there's like a giant crowd. It's like when you go to the UFC, right? Like there's millions of people. That's kind of how the ADCC is in jiu-jitsu. And then it's Pan Ams. This is another world tournament, another world tournament. So there is quite a few organizations. IBJJF, it's one of them.
Do you like UFC?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been watching any of the recent fights, but I watched it throughout the years. I'm a big fan of a lot of fighters. McGregor always been my favorite fighter. He's hilarious, dude. Eddie Diaz brothers, a lot of them. So yeah, for sure.
Do you see a lot of jiu-jitsu in UFC?
Oh, of course, all the time. They always do it in MMA. Yeah, you see them put them in grappling holds all the time, smash and pounding.
Is it mostly like in the UFC? Is it mostly jiu-jitsu, or is there other styles of fighting in there?
In MMA, you see like pretty much everything. You see anybody that's.
I'm sorry. So it's MMA. A friend of mine kept on drilling me about it. It's not UFC. It's MMA. Dude.
Oh yeah.
So,
okay. Well, yes.
The sport is mixed martial arts.
Yeah, right? Mixed martial arts. But in the UFC, they use MMA.
Gotcha.
They use everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta remind myself.
Yeah, no, I know. It gets confusing.
So with this sport, you gotta talk to me like I'm a 2-year-old because okay,
yeah.
Can we get that?
Okay, we got that.
But that is wild, dude.
Yeah.
So you've been around doing tournaments for a very long time, dude.
Oh, yeah, really long time.
Yeah.
And I don't plan to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, how can you, right? Like you're doing all these film projects.
Yeah.
How often do you do tournaments? Like when does that cycle start? Is there like seasons with the sport? How does that work?
Yeah, there's seasons. I mean, like, no tournament really happens, anytime it's like, around Christmas or around any holidays, there's no tournaments going on or nothing. People take their breaks for like Christmas all the time. Or for certain months of the year, there will be a really busy month for jiu-jitsu. So, and that's only usually around like IBJJF tournaments. So that would be like around March or whatever, or like January. There's like a tournament called Europeans, right? That people travel the world for.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's a long travel. You got to be on the plane for like 17 hours.
So you've been to Europe? To fight? Really?
Yeah, I've been there once.
How was Europe, dude? How did you like it?
Europe was fun. It was a fun place to be at. I liked exploring around the place and everything. I gotta go back there.
Yeah,
that's what I gotta say.
Was Europe the farthest place you've been to practice jiu-jitsu?
Sorry, say that again.
Was Europe that's the farthest place you've been to for a tournament?
Oh yes, that was the farthest distance I've traveled for jiu-jitsu.
Ah,
yeah,
Europe, dude.
Yeah, wow, it's a fun experience.
Yeah,
give it a try yourself.
What was your what was the best thing about Europe that you liked besides the tournament?
Man, I love exploring all the areas. I mean, it's just a beautiful place, like the areas are nice. I love the way the construct, like, everything, the way it looks, it just aesthetically looks pretty beautiful.
Really?
Yeah, way different from being the streets are a lot like different, the people are nice, they're cool. I love the food there. I can't even lie, the food there is amazing.
Oh really?
Yeah, they got nice proportions over there. And it's the quality of the food. It's just amazing.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Compared to United States, I'm pretty sure that they got their portions are for human beings.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like just the perfect amount of proportion. I'll be full right to where I need to be.
Gotcha.
Love it there.
Any thoughts of going to Japan?
Oh man, I always wanted to go to Japan.
Yeah?
Yeah, for a lot of reasons. I mean, there is a big tournament over there in Japan. It's called Spider. Yeah.
Okay.
And like mainly just black belts are invited out there, and like you know they only send invites to those people.
So you have to be invited
you have to be
go out
invited
there.
to Spider in Japan. Yeah, it's a really big tournament. I believe they pay the black belts how much they pay you a lot of money. Yeah,
whoa.
about like 50-60K to win that tournament. Yeah.
Oh, to win. When you win,
yeah. Once you win, that's you get paid like.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah. So it's a big tournament. So I mean, you know, black belt. If I'm winning everything, I'm doing my thing. You know, it's always a possibility to get invited out there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Japan is awesome.
It's a nice country. Super clean. Everybody, even though you don't speak their language, they're still they're happy to help you.
Yeah.
Because I only know English. I don't know Spanish. I don't know.
I'm with you there, bro.
Oh, there we go.
Still working on my Spanish.
So we're out there, and they're still the nicest people because they know that you're going out there for their country, right?
Yeah.
And you're putting some extra dollars into their economy. They're super nice,
Yeah.
with you. And then their technology out there is just super.
We got some high tech out there.
It's high tech, yeah, and it's just random stuff. Like there's vending machines everywhere
For everything.
for everything.
Yeah.
You can get underwear out of vending machine.
You go to a ramen spot and it's pretty much so you go to a ramen spot, right? Like every other ramen spot you go to, there's a vending machine type of machine in the front. So there's buttons with what you want to order. You press the buttons, and then you use your credit card or you pay cash on there, right?
Yeah.
And you go sit down. You get a ticket, you go sit down, and then like no more than 5 minutes later, there's somebody that comes out and brings your food and puts it on your table.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Make me want to go there and just see all of that.
It's basically like a kiosk, but just different in some weird way because the technology looks old, but I guess how do I even say this, right? So the technology seems pretty old, but the idea is new. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're going for.
It's like seeing a Model T, but with a Bluetooth inside of it. That's how weird it sounds. Yeah.
Japan has a lot of things that are unique about it. So
right.
Definitely I think it's one of the most desired places I wanted to travel to.
Yeah.
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 I feel like that's on a lot of people's bucket list.
Yeah.
Japan's it's a big one.
You should check it out, dude.
Yeah.
If you like Europe, it's probably totally different though.
Most definitely. I mean, you know, I love anime too, so you know.
Oh, there you go. See. Oh, you'd love it then, dude.
Yeah, of course.
You'd love it. There's anime everywhere. There's girls that dress like anime characters that are just walking on the street.
Yeah, that's so cool, dude. I got to see it.
But I also think that everything in Japan is done with passion. Like they get so invested in what they're doing, and they don't just do it like half-assed, you know? Everything is like, we're going to go all the way or nothing. And I think that that's why they've excelled in so many things and brought so many things to the U.S. and other countries and contributed because they're amazing.
Yeah,
it's
that is true.
crazy.
Yeah, their technology is out of this world.
Pretty beyond. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a beautiful, just the essence of the country is just so, without saying the vibe in Japan was just amazing and awe, but the essence of
it's like the peacefulness and beautiness of Japan itself is just beautiful to look at.
Right. Yeah. And then Amber was looking at, I think, you looked it up when we got back to the US about how Japan is one of the oldest and most haunted country in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So I guess it derives from World War II, right? After the bombing in Hiroshima.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of that from World
It's
War
creepy,
II.
but it's cool. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
What I would want to, if I go to Japan ever, I definitely want to try out judo over there.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really fun experience for me.
Should.
So judo is that's the origin, right?
Yes.
Of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
So how different is it from judo to jiu-jitsu? Like, what's the difference?
Well, the main difference in judo is that, I mean, like I was saying before, it's all about just throwing. You know? So like when you throw somebody, that's already points for you. And then you got to restart, or and then you just keep on going. So every time you get a takedown, get back up and take down again. In jiu-jitsu, it's the same thing. If you take somebody down, you just keep on going instead of restarting, and then you just keep on going from the ground, and then you just start scrambling around.
Gotcha. So are athletes still practicing judo now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
A lot of people still do judo nowadays. It's still a big sport. So judo and jiu-jitsu are kind of like even. It's like they're very similar to each other. So you still see a lot of judo players.
So is there another jiu-jitsu that's not Brazilian? Is that a dumb question to ask?
I mean, no. I think it would just be like, it would just be Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Because like Brazilian jiu-jitsu came from Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So they kind of like just made it its own thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They did have some striking in Japan jiu-jitsu. That's right. So Brazilian just took the striking and just made it just grappling.
Oh, gotcha. So it's just the different attacks and styles, right?
It's funny because like I also did wrestling, right? I don't know if I already said this, but when I was doing wrestling at the time, when I was also like around, like I was a little bit younger as a kid, I was using all of the judo in wrestling, because when you put judo into wrestling, oh my god, it's so good. Like you could just throw people, because like it's a lot easier too. Like when they're trying to go for your legs as a judo player, it's easier for you to get a toss to somebody, right? Because it's about using that person's momentum, right, and using your hips to throw people. So it's like, if you're gonna double leg me, I'm just gonna use that momentum and just throw you over, right? And I was doing that. I went to like districts, in wrestling, just based off of judo. I barely even knew any wrestling.
Oh, really? So you used what you learned in judo in your wrestling?
In wrestling, yeah. And I almost made it to like the finals.
So is that what you practice in high school?
No, I was in middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah.
Middle school wrestling.
Yeah, middle school wrestling.
Did you do any sports in high school besides jiu-jitsu?
No, in high school I just stuck to jiu-jitsu.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Saved all your energy for that, right?
Yeah, because I was homeschooled in high school. For
Oh,
4
okay.
years.
Nice.
Yeah, because I had to focus on jiu-jitsu and that. There was a lot of traveling going on. Still as always, I'm always traveling a lot. So yeah, I mean that was mainly just that.
So you're traveling in your early years of high school.
Oh,
I forget how young you are right now. Okay, I got to check myself.
Yeah.
That wasn't too long ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated in 2021, so I'm 20 now. So it was quite a while ago.
Gotcha.
What year were you born?
2003. any
2000. Can we pull up what the best the music video was in 2003?
Top songs.
Top songs in 2003.
Bro, 2000s music is legendary.
There we go.
Love early 2000s.
So what is oldies to you? What's oldies?
Oh man, oldies. Yeah, no, I love the oldies.
Michael Jackson.
I know, huh?
No, yeah, I mean, you could ask my dad. My dad could say a whole thing about that. He was born with the oldies, like he's in the 90s.
There we go.
Oh yeah, this guy knows all the classic music. Honestly, I love the music back then too. It's just amazing. Yeah, no, I listen to all the music because I got it from him. He put me onto all of it.
Yeah. Typically, that's what happens, right? When for children, it's usually you listen to whatever your parents listen to.
Yeah.
And you don't like it as a kid, or I didn't.
No, that's funny, because that's exactly how it was for me. I wasn't listening to any of that music when I was a kid. I was like, what the hell is this? It's music. But
and
no.
now, right? Now you're like,
yeah, I would make fun of him. I was just like mock him, like, man, this music is like kind of weird. I was just a kid, I was just goofing around because I would like that new crazy music. And then once I got older, then I started to, and I was like, oh wow, this old music that my dad listened to. It's like mad chill. I love the mellow vibe to it. It was just nostalgic.
It's just
Loved
different.
it.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
That happened to me. My mom, we used to take, my mom's from Ensenada, so it's about 3 hours from here. So we used to take little road trips there. and she would play like all her CDs because the cars had CDs.
Mm-hmm.
She would play a whole CD over and over, and I'd just be like, "Oh my goodness!" And now I play those albums over and over, like when I used to complain, and now I'm not complaining. So I love it. So I get it.
It's awesome when it's awesome when you're older because like when you have like oldie parents right back from those good old times and they show you the nostalgic things like the music and just the vibe and even the like going like the clubs back then was even fun. And it's like you learn so much and it's like, oh damn, I wish I lived back in that year so I could see like what it was like for my parents, and I always asked them that. I was like, how was it back then, compared to like the year you're in now? It's a lot more different. It's beautiful though.
So talking about your parents and your dad, I'm like, they can't see him, but he's here.
Yeah.
What's your dynamic with each other? Like, what's your dynamic with your dad?
Oh, it's amazing. My dad's been there since day one. He's been supporting me, my whole life. And when I was a kid, and my mother and my whole family. We all have an amazing relationship. I couldn't ask for anything better. They did their best their whole life, and I love them for that. So they've been there, and they're never gonna stop for me. And I'm always gonna be with them. Always gonna love them, and we work as a team. But me and my dad, we had a really like strong bondship, especially in jiu-jitsu. He's traveled with me everywhere. He's been there like behind the cage when I'm on the mat, just like being my own, like my coach, as my dad, it's amazing because, when you have a dad that's just there like screaming for your name and, he wants the best for you, and so having that emotional support it's amazing to have that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. For doing something so long, right, that you are so committed to it, you need that type of support.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like anybody doing for anything, anybody doing for something, as long as you need a support system.
Yeah. And I think like the best thing about it is that he made a commitment,
Mm-hmm.
like there's not a lot of people out there, maybe a lot of dads or a lot of kids that don't have a dad that commits, what they believe in, what they want to do for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've been very grateful that ever since I did the sport, he's committed to being there for me and supporting me and traveling around the world with me and doing tournaments.
Yeah, because it's not just going out there and being your dad. It's being more than your dad. He's taking time out of his life and changing his life because he sees the potential in you and what you can do. So I think that's extremely selfless of your parent to do, and it's amazing. It's nice to see that.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. It's like it's always in the back of my mind. Like, oh my dad, he really put his like entire life. Ever since I was started jiu-jitsu, he's never stopped supporting me ever since. It's like it's rare to have that sometimes. A lot of people don't have that, so you can imagine how grateful I'd be for that.
Does your dad do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, he did it when I was a little younger with me. So that was also like really fun to have. It was like just being able to spar your dad and just throw for fun, and then him being there to support you right after in the tournament. It's an amazing feeling. It goes so far that it's like once I really make it there, I get my black belt, open my own academy, start teaching other people jiu-jitsu. Then it's like I want to give the world. I want to do everything for my father since he's been there. Since everything I could ever ask for. So there's much I want to do for him, for my parents, both my parents. They're amazing. So I have a lot to look forward to, and especially like just having this amazing trio bondship of both my father and my mother. It's like I want to give him a hug. Just never let him go. I don't ever want to see them go.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
Are you an only child?
No, I have.
Okay. 5?
Yeah. I'm the youngest of 5.
Oh, the youngest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, does any of your siblings do any type of sport, or you're the only sport?
They did it when they was a little bit younger as well.
Okay.
But I'm doing the one that stuck to it for all these years.
Wow. What do you think it was that just made you stick with something like this? Is it just your pure passion for the sport?
Yeah, I would say mainly.
Yeah?
I would say mainly it's my passion, and then like beforehand when it was the bullying thing.
Yeah.
That was just a small thing about it. That wasn't nothing too big. It was like, oh, I got bullied. You get it out the way, right?
Uh-huh.
You get over it. But then after that, once you start sticking to it, it's like it becomes your passion, and that's how I felt.
This question's for your dad.
Yeah.
Was there at any point that you thought that he was gonna not continue? It was at the green belt stage?
Green belt for sure.
Really?
I agree, yeah.
Why do you think that was?
Oh man, that goes a long way.
Sure. He was undecided because he wasn't reaping the benefit of sacrificing his body, his life, and his whole time us moving. He didn't see where the benefit was any longer. It's been so many years, no income, no nothing. So I gave him 60 days off of zero training, zero jiu-jitsu talk. When he went back, he was a complete savage.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, honestly, the longer it took off, the worse it even felt. And it made me come back like monstrous, come back for, like I was starving for jiu-jitsu.
You're hungry for it,
I came
dude.
back hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every blue belt, adult division.
I was like training my ass off like from day to day, like morning to night, It was intense.
How often do you take those sabbaticals?
Man, I haven't felt like that. Like I haven't felt like I never wanted to take off ever since
okay.
green belt.
Really?
Yeah, ever since I went through that trial era, once I came back, I never let go.
It always happens like that. I
Yeah.
think that once you take some time off on whatever your passion is, and you built a new love for it because you're not doing it during that time, right?
Yeah, no, that's that's true, because it's like after all that time, like what the hell am I doing in my life? Why am I just sitting back here when I was
Right.
already something I already loved? There's no reason to be taking all that time off. Well, and also because I had multiple reasons why I took that time off. I was going through a lot of stuff, in my life, personally as well.
Right.
And especially I caught this really bad severe case of MRSA.
Whoa.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
I've seen it before, but I've never met somebody with it.
Yeah, it was really bad.
That's like that's like a, it's
Skin,
like,
right?
It's
Yeah.
it's like a really bad version
Right.
of staph infection. Yeah.
oh, and then most people get it in like hospitals and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when I got that, I was like, holy crap, right?
Whoa.
And a few days later, it started off with just like a little red we thought it was like a mat bird or something, right? But just like a little redness there. I thought it was fine. Got over, right? A few days later, it just started getting worse. Started progressing bad. It was getting like pus and all that nasty stuff, like ball spots. It was
Whoa.
horrible. And the pain, oh my god, it felt like a knife stabbing in the back of your head.
Really?
Like knife spikes. Yeah.
That
horrible.
bad?
It's horrible pain, yeah. And so once we went to the hospital, I got like freaking 6 misdiagnoses from doctors.
Oh my
Didn't even know what
gosh.
it is. I got misdiagnosed with like shingles and stuff. Like the shingles is like for older people, you don't get that at a young age.
Right.
And I was like, I was crying my ass off. My parents were crying, and they're over here telling me I only have like a certain amount of time.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Until I pass away. I was like, I'm gonna die from this, and that's when
How
I
old were
was
you?
born. I was like, what do you think?
16, I think.
Like 16?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
not so long ago.
Yeah, like mid-teenager.
He was out. Yeah, put him out for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was the longest time I ever took off for 6 months.
That was against your will, though.
Yeah, that was against my will because
yeah.
it stopped me, right?
Right.
And so after that time, that's when I became the most motivated I've ever been, right? Since I was a child, because I was like, this is literally like this could like all the hard work that I worked for could literally go down the drain because of this. It could have literally like killed me if I didn't catch up to it,
Wow.
Yeah, and that was probably the worst part I had in my jiu-jitsu career. Like worst thing I ever had to do it.
I always think it's crazy how we kind of go around life, right? Seeing people and seeing accomplishments, and like seeing, everything that you've accomplished and everything that you do, and you're strong and you're healthy and everything. And I would never think that, right? That we all go through struggles, that every day there's something, new obstacles, whether you're really old or you're really young or you're really healthy or you're really unhealthy. It's just, we go through struggles, and to see people like talk about it, like thank you for talking about that and putting it out there, because I think that it makes you seem more human, like, right? It makes you seem like like, hey, this guy, yes, he's almost a black belt. Yes, he's done all these accomplishments, but he's also a human being. You know, you feel, you have pain, you go through adversities, you go through things, and I just think I always forget. And when we have these conversations with people, it's when it brings me back, and I'm like, you know what, we're all just trying to live our life and get through things. So I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you got through it and you know, you came out stronger from that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's what made me came back and never want to go back down that hole again. You know, I was in a very deep hole at that time, and you know, I even got like, I'm not even afraid to say it, I got like therapy, like mental therapy. Like I needed to talk to somebody like in therapy to get myself back in order and to get myself back on the path I wanted to be on. You know. So like anybody who's out there like struggling, it's okay to get like therapy, you know, to talk to somebody that, you know, feel like give you some comfort, especially when you're at your worst, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't hurt to do at all.
And I feel like
stronger than ever.
And I feel like it's because of you taking all those steps, right? Mentally, physically first, and then taking care of yourself mentally, that help you strengthen to come back to work at your sport, right?
Yeah.
You did it right.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't just be this macho man. Oh, I don't need to go to therapy. I don't need to do that. No, you took the right steps in taking care of yourself physically and mentally too.
Yeah, because not everybody has the backup to talk to somebody, you know.
Right.
Like not everybody has somebody they can talk to, you know. Certain parents are a little bit hard to struggle, you know. We all have our own unique struggles, but you know, that's why it's never a bad thing to go to therapy, to wanting that little bit of comfort or, you know, help talking with somebody to, you know, help get yourself back on the path you want to. So
but even the stigma behind therapy is there, you know, where people feel like, you know, people that go to therapy only need it, or they're really in a really bad spot, or whatever the stigma might be around therapy, right? But it's I'm glad that it's coming to light and more people are talking about it, and we're using these resources to be able to cure ourselves, you know, or not cure, but, you know, help ourselves mentally, to be able to do all the physical stuff. So that's cool. That's cool of you to
thank you. Yeah. Just thought I'd share, because, you know, that's things people need to know out there, you know. Like there's no reason to even hide that, you know. It's just the honest truth is it's trial and error. You know, that's how you're going to get through life. You have to go through certain stuff to be back on the path you want to be on.
Do you think that jiu-jitsu, the way that you've learned it, the way that you've accumulated all these experiences on the mat, do you use any of that into your personal life?
Yeah, a lot. Like anything I do on the mat, I think about it outside the mat. I think about it on the mat. You know, and I don't ever let jiu-jitsu like put me down, you know. So anytime I'm in a down state, I go back to train even harder, you know. But it's like that every day. So I'm not using that just because, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna try to help myself get back up and just try to go back to jiu-jitsu. No, I think about it every day, and the more I think about it, the more I'm gonna be competing, the more I'm gonna be training, the more I'm gonna be waking up and feel enthusiastic to work out every day, you know. So jiu-jitsu overall helps me the way I am in real life.
I like that, dude.
Thank you.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Jacob, the Brown Bull, thanks for coming out and doing the podcast, man. I really appreciate it, dude.
Thank you,
this
Gail.
was awesome.
It was
good
amazing.
talking to you. Tell us where we can find you and what you have coming up, buddy.
Of course, everybody, you can follow me on my Instagram at Jacob the Bull Brown, YouTube, Twitter, all of that. You already know. And stay tuned for my films coming up. Lake Abyss, it's going to be a show horror film. Stay tuned for Pitched Out. And shout out to everybody that watches me. Shout out to everybody I work with. Shout out to Moira Brand. Love you guys. And everybody else, have a good time. Have a great night. Stay tuned.
Cool. And everything to Jacob the Bull Brown will be down in the show description. If you're listening to this on Spotify, the links will be down in the show description. If you're watching on YouTube, all the links to Jacob's stuff will be down in the show description. So thanks for watching, and check him out and see what else he's going to accomplish in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, dude. I'm excited to see this.
Thank you.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Do you have any tournaments coming up?
Yes, I have one coming up. It is February 3rd. Stay tuned for that tournament.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
is anyone able to just like see them, or are they private events, or they're just?
I'll keep you posted on my Instagram. You'll see amazing highlight.
All right, awesome.
All right, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Amber, do we have anything?
We have a couple things going on February 10th. We're hosting a Valentine's pop-up in the city of Paramount at Horchateria Rio Luna.
Cool.
And then you have your thing on the 23rd.
Yep.
And then
23rd, not the 26th.
and then on the 24th, we're having a small business seminar. So if you're a small business looking to where to start or elevate your business now, come join our seminar.
Cool. And shout out to Andy C. Comedy for hooking it up with today's t-shirt. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks, man. April February 23rd. Check it out. Live podcast, open mic, Della Comedy. See you guys.
The Mind Buzz. Podcast.
Boom.